So let us start with this particular topic. What do you mean by dimensional analysis? And then we'll try to see the topics or the theories which are given in this particular, you can say, unit.
Sir,
Yes,
we have not done that, na sir. Ragle's and Buckingham Pi theorem, we have done
that
that.
no, that is the topic under dimensional analysis. Rayleigh's method and Buckingham Pi method. इसी के अंदर आएगा वो. Okay. In today's lecture, we are supposed to do Rayleigh's method. I have included Rayleigh's method in today's lecture. You can see here. Right. So we'll
Okay, sir.
discuss it. Okay. Dimensional analysis. Now, what do you mean by dimensional analysis and why it is important to study? Let's, as we always do, let us try to, you can say, understand the importance of this topic first, then we'll move to the topic. Now, what is the importance of dimensional analysis? So, dimensional analysis may what you're supposed to do is, suppose in fluid mechanics, or in not only in fluid mechanics, this dimensional analysis is, you can say, acceptable um, in most of the fields. जिस भी आप field में जाएंगे, maybe in engineering or in non-engineering fields also, wherever mathematics is applicable, you can use a dimensional analysis. Now, what is this dimensional analysis and how it could be used? For this, you need to understand one thing is, let's say if I am performing a you can say practical, I'm performing a practical. That practical is related with, let's say, some parameters like x, y, and z. Okay, there are certain parameters upon which I am doing an experiment. Fine, and then in that experiment, I'm using three different parameters: x, y, z. This x could be mass, y could be velocity, z could be density. Fine. So based upon whatever the type of experiment on this experiment, we have different parameters. Fine. Now, after the experiment, I want to find that how these parameters x, y, z depends upon each other. What is the relation? What is the correlation between x, y, z? Fine. So how they are varying with each other, how they are depending upon each other. Fine. So for that, I need to find the relation between x and x, y, z. Let's say if it comes like x equal to, let's say it comes out like x equal to y into z square. Fine. After some experiment, after some mathematics, I found that let's say x came out to be x equal to y into z square. Okay, but after doing the calculation, what should I see after finding this relation? I need to validate this relation also. Now, how I can validate this relation? What I will do, I will find what is the unit of this x. Okay, what are the units of this x, and what are the units of y into z square. Okay, so what is the unit of x and what are the units of y into z square? Now tell me one thing. If the unit of, let's say, if the unit of x is kilogram. Okay, let's say if the unit of x is kilogram and unit of y into z square is, let's say, meter into second. So can you say it's a correct relation or not?
No, sir.
Why it is not a correct
Yes, sir.
relation? Why it is not a
It
correct
is
relation?
sir.
Okay, because units are not same. This is, see, kilogram is the unit of mass, meter is the unit of
Sir,
length, second is unit. Yes.
sir, mine got disconnected, sir. Can you
Sure.
explain, sir?
Sure. Okay. See, what we were discussing right now, I was telling you what is the importance of dimensional analysis, and in that I have given an example. Let's say if you are performing an experiment which includes three parameters x, y, z. Fine. So after performing the experiment, you correlate this three variables parameters in this way. Let's say, for example, x equal to y into z square. Fine. For example, I'm giving. Let's say the correlation after the experiment you found is x equal to y into z square. But if you check the unit, when you check the unit, let's say unit of x came out to be kilogram, unit of y into z square came out to be mass into seconds. Sorry, meter into seconds, not mass, meter into seconds. Fine. So I'm asking that whether this correlation is correct or wrong. So you have answered that this correlation is
Wrong,
wrong.
sir, wrong.
No? Yes. Why it
Because
is?
Z square is there.
No. That's not the correct answer. It's a correlation is wrong, but why it is wrong? Because see, here what we are equating kilogram. Kilogram is the quantity of mass. Kilogram is the unit of mass. Meter into
Yes, sir.
second. So meter is the unit of length. Second is the unit of time. Fine. So there is no mass.
Uh-huh.
Fine. So if you are
Yes,
equating
sir.
two things, they should be equating. They should be same. Like you cannot compare apple and oranges. If on the right hand side there are apples, so on the left hand side also there should be apples. Fine. Similarly, if there is a
Mm-hmm.
kilogram here, so on the right hand side there should be a kilogram. Fine. So after
Yes.
performing the dimensional analysis, I can validate this correlation what I developed here. It may be wrong, maybe some fault I have committed during the experiment. So due to which whatever the whatever the value I have got, whatever the relation I have got, this relation could be wrong. Because on dimensional analysis, on carrying the dimensional analysis, I found that this is wrong thing. This is illogical. Fine. So that is the importance of dimensional analysis. You can find the you can say logical relation between the parameters during an experiment. Fine. If you perform an experiment, you can find a logical correlation between the parameters using dimensional analysis. Am I clear about this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the
Yes, sir.
okay, that is the you can say importance of dimensional analysis. Now after that, if I need to move about the basics of dimensional analysis, so in the basis of dimensional analysis, you should understand one term that is called as dimension. Now what is dimension? Like say if you measure your, you can say when you go for shopping of shoes, when you buy a shoe, fine, you know your feet size, you know what is the size of your feet, and accordingly you buy the shoes, fine. So dimension is the, you can say, what is the quantity, or what is the, you can say, measurement, what is the length of your feet, fine. So length of your feet, let's say if it is some value, fine, so that value is the quantity, physical quantity, fine. So you have measured your feet, that is you have taken the dimension of your feet, and accordingly you are buying the shoes, fine. So similarly the dimension is the measure of the physical quantity. That physical quantity, like in our case, it is a feet, it is your feet, fine. Similarly in engineering purpose, it could be some other quantities, fine. Let's say the length of a path, fine, mass of a particular object. So these are the dimensions, fine. So dimensions is basically the measurement of a particular physical quantity. That physical quantity can be anything, fine. So there could be numerous examples for that physical quantity which you are measuring. So anything which you are measuring, so that measurement should be the dimension, fine. While unit, what do you mean by unit? Unit is the, you can say it's a way to assign the number to that dimension. Like if you say if you measure the mass of a particular object, so measurement of the mass, let's say it came out, a measurement of the mass, let's say it came out to be 2, fine. So 2 is the dimension. But how many, if you perform a unit, like it's a kilogram or it's a ton, it's a gram, fine, so that could be a unit, fine. So 2 is the, you can say, numerical quantity, numerical value. 2 is the numerical quantity. Let's say if I say 2 kg, if you measure the mass of a particular object, so in this 2 kg, 2 is dimension and kg is unit, fine. So 2 is the dimension and kg is unit. Now if I consider measuring the mass of an object as an experiment, if you consider measuring the mass of an object as an experiment, so in that experiment 2 is the dimension and kg is the unit. Okay, now answer one thing to me, in this experiment of measuring the mass of a particular object, what could change and what could remain constant? Dimension could change, or dimension can remain constant, or the otherwise the unit can change or unit can remain constant. In this experiment, which thing is supposed to remain constant? Okay, so you can change the unit, you can change your measurement from kilogram to grams also. So if you consider it in terms of grams, so okay, so the numerical value still, see, it is still the same, the object value is not same, but not change, it's still 2 kilogram or 2000 grams, both are same, but you can change the system of your units. Okay, you can change the system of your units, but the numerical value, ultimately the, you can say, the identity of the object is still same. The identity of the object is still same, even if you have changed the unit system. If you change the unit system from kilogram to gram, you can change it, but the identity of the system should be unchanged, should be constant, fine. So that is what you need to understand in this case. If you measure something, so measuring the numerical value is the dimension, and if you assign that numerical value to particular, you can say, way of particular system of measurement, so that system is called as units, fine. So I hope the difference between dimension and unit is clear to you. So keeping that thing in our mind, let's try to see one example here also. See, let's say in this particular figure, with the help of the scale, we are measuring the difference between 2 points. Let's say this is 0.1 and this is 0.2. So what you have done, you have measured the distance between these 2 points with the help of the scale. So, and you have got this distance, fine. So this distance, in this distance, 3.2 is dimension and centimeter is the unit. Okay, you can also convert this dimension or this measurement in meters, maybe in inches, maybe in feet, fine. So inches, feet, meters, that could be units, and the numeric value will be the dimension. Okay, so this will be the example of dimensions and units, if you can understand, fine. So having these points in our mind, I want to tell you that there are 7 primary dimensions. There are 7. Now this is again a very important question based on your, you can say, It can be asked in your objective questions also. There are 7 primary dimensions which are also called as fundamental or basic dimensions. Fine. So if a question could be asked like there are how many basic dimensions? So you should answer it as 7. There are 7 primary dimensions. What are these dimensions? These are the dimensions of mass, length, time, temperature, current, electric current, amount of light, and amount of matter. Fine. So see, from here
Sir,
also you try to take the difference between dimension. Dimension is something you can measure. So what you can measure? You can measure mass, you can measure length, you can measure time, temperature, current, light, and matter. So these are things which you can measure. Fine. Now you can take that measurement in any unit. Fine. So that will be the unit. Fine. Yes. Any doubts?
sir, fundamental are only three, na sir? LMT, length, mass, and
Uh-huh.
time, sir.
No, there are 7. So apart from mass, length, and time, there are temperature, current. See, you cannot derive the units of temperature from MLT. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So temperature is an independent, you can say dimension. Fine. Temperature is an independent dimension. Similarly, current is an independent dimension. Coulomb charge, है ना? Charge को you measure charge as coulombs. Fine. So it is also an independent dimension. Similarly, amount of light. So you measure light in the unit of candela. So light is also, you cannot derive candela from any other dimensions. Fine. So it's an independent quantity. And amount of matter. So in chemistry we study Avogadro number. Fine. So Avogadro number is the amount of matter. So you cannot derive Avogadro number from any other dimensions. Right? So these are the basic, you can say fundamental dimensions. Okay. Mass, length, time, temperature, current, light, and matter. Fine. See, notations what we are going to use for the unit of mass. Okay. Unit of mass could be kilogram, it could be pounds, it could be grams. Fine. So we are going to denote mass with capital M. Okay, because we are going to refer examples of R.K. Bansal. So mass, the dimensions of mass is referred as capital M. Okay. Similarly, the dimension of length is taken as capital L. Dimension of time is taken as capital T. So for time, we are going to use primary dimension term as T, capital T, and for temperature, we are going to use theta. Okay, so don't get confused in the coming examples. If I use capital M, it is for mass, capital T is for time, and theta is for temperature. Okay, so keeping these points in our mind, let us move to the next slide. Any doubts on this slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we talked about that there are 7 primary dimensions. After that, there are certain derived units. Okay, there are 7 fundamental, then there are other derived units. Fine. So what are derived or non-primary dimensions? Fine. In this case, in this particular slide, we are going to learn about certain non-primary dimensions, or sometimes they are also called as derived dimensions. Fine. Derived dimensions. Right? So what are derived dimensions? Derived dimensions are the dimensions which can be obtained from the fundamental dimensions. Okay. So there are the dimensions which you can obtain from fundamental dimensions. Those are called as derived dimensions. Like the example I have been given here, force. So force, you can say force is again a dimension. You can measure force, fine. But force you cannot see. Force you cannot directly measure. Fine. For measuring the force, you need mass. Okay, you need mass, you need length, and you need time. Basically, if you study, you can say Newton's equation of motion, force is equals to what? Mass into acceleration. Force is equals to mass into acceleration.
Yes.
Okay. So again, from this expression, I can say that force depends upon mass. Mass is a fundamental unit. Okay. Fundamental dimension mass, but acceleration is still not fundamental. Okay. What is acceleration? Acceleration is also derived dimension. Acceleration, from the definition of acceleration, I can say acceleration is what?
Change in
Velocity.
length upon time.
Change in length upon time is velocity, right? Acceleration is what? Velocity per time. Okay. Now in this case, time is fundamental, but velocity is still derived. Fine. So what is velocity? Now I can say velocity is what? Length
Meter.
by time. Now I can say, I can write velocity in fundamental units. Velocity is derived from where it is derived? From length and time. Fine. So from here I can say acceleration will be, I can put velocity as L by T. Okay. And at the denominator is time. So time is also capital T. So acceleration is L by T square. Fine. I can put it over here. So in case of force, I can say force will be equal to, see, mass is kilogram, I can measure mass in kilogram, pound, or something. So for mass, I have told you that the fundamental notation I'm going to use is capital M, and for acceleration, we just found L by t square. L by t square. So by t square means t to the power minus 2. Okay, so you can say
Sir,
this is
do
how
not able to understand, sir.
I'm repeating the whole concept again. What I'm telling you in this particular slide is, we in the previous slide we saw that there are certain 7 fixed things or fixed dimensions which you can measure, fine, and to measure
Yes,
these
sir.
dimensions you cannot use any other things. So these are the independent dimensions. Okay, these are the independent dimensions. That means for length you cannot derive length from some other quantity. So length is an independent dimension. Similarly, mass is an independent dimension. So similarly, there are 7 dimensions which are independent, which are basic, which are fundamental. You cannot find them with the help of some other dimensions, fine. So they are dependent, they are depending on each on itself only, fine. They are not you cannot find them from any other dimensions, fine. So these are called as basic or the fundamental dimensions. But using these fundamental dimensions, we can derive some other quantities, like using mass, length, and time we can find force. Okay, how I can find force? Like force is mass into acceleration. And see, mass is a fundamental dimension. Acceleration depends upon length and time. Okay, acceleration is not fundamental, but acceleration depends upon length and time. So how acceleration depends upon length and time? This is by this relation. Fine. So there are certain dimensions which are derived from primary dimensions. Okay, certain dimensions which are derived from primary dimensions. Example like force. Force is a example of a derived dimension. Similarly, velocity and acceleration are also example of a derived dimension. You can derive acceleration from a primary dimension. What are the primary dimension? Length and time. Similarly, you can derive velocity from primary dimension. What are the primary dimension? Length and time. Fine. So these are the
सर ये
derived
फोर्थ वाले
dimensions.
में -2 होगा ना, मिस्टेक है ना सर ये प्रिंट का?
कहाँ पे -2 बेटा?
t पावर -2.
हाँ, t पावर -2 यहाँ पे इन्होंने डिवाइड में लिखा हुआ है m into l डिवाइड बाय t स्क्वायर, फाइन. और here I have written ml t -2, fine. So you should be clear that there are certain primary dimensions, and using primary dimensions we can derive certain derived dimensions. We can find certain derived dimensions. So examples of the derived dimensions could be many, like force, acceleration, and velocity. We will see some more examples also. So like if I tell you one more example, like if I say surface tension. Okay, so it has given here also surface tension. You studied what is surface tension. Surface tension is force per unit length. Okay, so see, what do you think, for surface tension is a primary dimension or a derived dimension?
Sir,
Okay.
derived dimension.
Derived dimension. Why? Because it depends upon force and length. And length, you can say length is fundamental. Length is fundamental, but force is not fundamental. Force is derived. Fine. So similarly, for writing this derived dimension, I can write this derived dimension into fundamental units. So if I need to write surface tension into fundamental units, it is mass per unit time square. Fine. So fundamental representation of surface tension will be m. M is mass. So for m, I will use capital M. For mass, I will use capital M. Divide by time square. So time square is t to the power -2. Divide में इसलिए दो. Fine. So surface tension can be written into its fundamental units by this expression. Right? You know the units of surface tension is Newton per meter. Units of surface tension is Newton per meter. But Newton per meter, Newton is not a fundamental unit. Okay, Newton is not a fundamental unit. Newton depends upon mass into acceleration. Fine. So if you rewrite Newton into mass into acceleration, and if you rewrite acceleration into fundamental terms, so you will get this quantity here. Fine. So we need to rewrite derived dimension into primary dimensions. Similarly, here also what we did, we write force as a fundamental units. Fine. So force in fundamental units will be like this. Okay. So every time we can write derived dimension into fundamental dimension. We can convert derived dimension into fundamental dimensions by simple exercise, like what I did here also. Right? So you can write any derived dimension as a fundamental dimension by simple examples or simple exercise. I have certain examples coming on, so you can get it. Yes.
सर लाइक यहाँ पे जो टाइम है सर, यहाँ पे हमने कैपिटल टी लिया है, बट ये जो सिंबल जो दिखाया है वो स्मॉल टी है.
See, this is I have taken from some book, so उसने time को small t में ले रखा है. That is why in this slide I have told you that in mass, we will take capital M, for time we will take capital T, and for temperature we will take theta. Okay, so just remember this thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. See,
Okay,
there,
sir. Thank you.
this is one example also, but it would be clear to you. Let's try to understand this example. See, in this example, there are certain derived units. Okay, derived dimensions are there. So we need to convert those derived dimensions into fundamental dimensions, like angular velocity. You know, angular velocity is omega. Okay, and the definition of omega is it is radian per second. It is radian, that is theta. Radian per second. Radian means angular movement, angular displacement. Angular displacement, you know, it is theta per second. Okay, that is the definition of angular velocity. Everyone, we study from very basics. Okay, whenever we started physics. Okay, I was asking that what is the unit of angle? So somebody asked, somebody's answered theta is seconds or something. So can anybody explain radian?
Radian.
Okay, radian. What do you think radian is? Radian is a unit.
Sir, degree will be converted into radius.
Degree is a unit.
Yes, sir. Angle.
No, sir. Degree is not a
See,
unit, sir.
we in the very first
Sir,
slide we
degree will be
discussed.
converted to radian, sir.
But for that, if I again go to the first slide, in the very first slide, I told you there are 7 fundamental units. Okay, so in that 7 fundamental units, was there any radian or degree?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
So again, it's a very interesting topic. If I tell you, if I answer this thing, theta. So theta is basically, it is arc length. If you see the definition of theta, arc length by radius. That is the definition of theta. Theta is the ratio of arc by radius. If you see a circle, let's say, for the circle, if I find the angle, sorry, if I want to find this angle theta, so theta will be what? This arc length divided by radius, that will be theta. Fine. Now arc length, arc is a length. Okay, arc length is a, you can say unit of arc length will be meter. Okay, that means the circumference of this length, that will be the arc length. Fine. So meter, and unit of radius is also meter. So what I can say, theta is a unitless, dimensionless quantity. Angle is a dimensionless quantity. Fine. So change in angle is a dimensionless quantity, I can say. Fine. So 1 by second, omega is a 1 by second. Fine. So that is what written here also. If you see this line in this case, angular velocity is angle, okay, per unit time. But angle is a dimensionless quantity. Angle is constant, so it has taken 1. And time is, you represent time with capital T. Fine. So the fundamental unit or the fundamental conversion of angular velocity will be per time. Okay, t to the power minus 1. Getting it or not? So angular velocity is a
Sir,
derived.
means
Yes.
sir, means if the unit will do not have any means unit, then we will take it as 1.
Yes. If there is no dimension, we will take it 1. Okay. Similarly, see, the next example is also angular acceleration. So if you see the angular acceleration, definition of angular acceleration is radian per second square. Okay, like it was radian per second velocity. So acceleration is radian per second square. Radian is also change in angle. So it is 1.
No.
Okay, radian is 1. Per second square means t square. So it will be t to the power minus 2 angular acceleration. So conversion of this derived dimension, angular acceleration, into fundamental dimension. Fine. So we have converted the derived dimension into fundamental dimension. Okay. Similarly, next is discharge. So you know discharge, since let's say if we are talking about volumetric discharge. So volumetric discharge, it's, let's say, area into velocity. The formula for volumetric discharge is area into velocity. You know how do we measure area? Area is side square. Okay. Or unit of area is, you always measure into meter square, centimeter square. Fine. So basically it's a length square. Area is length square into velocity. Now velocity is the ratio of length per unit time. So velocity is length per unit time. Fine. If you simplify, it will become L cube by T, or L cube T to the power minus 1. So discharge was a derived dimension. So discharge derived dimension is converted into fundamental dimension. Fundamental dimension. Okay. L cube into L cube into T minus 1. I hope it is clear to you. Okay. Next one more example. If I see kinematic viscosity, you know the formula of kinematic viscosity. It is mu by rho. Okay, it is mu by rho. So basically, you know what is mu? Mu is also a derived unit. If you see the definition of mu, it is from Newton's law of viscosity. Mu is shear stress by velocity gradient. Okay. Now, what is shear stress? Shear stress is force per unit area, and velocity by time. So velocity is length by time. In length by time, velocity gradient is change in velocity per unit length. Fine. So velocity is length by time, divide by length, so 1 by L. So y is 1 by L, 1 by dy is 1 by L. Fine. So it has been done here. Shear stress is force per unit area, and we have just found force. Force is mass into acceleration. So we need to write force into fundamental units, velocity gradient into fundamental units. Fine. And then if you rewrite, this is the fundamental unit of dynamic viscosity, mu. This is the fundamental units of dynamic viscosity. We are supposed to put this, we are supposed to substitute dynamic viscosity over here, right? So you can put it over here. Now density is also a derived unit. So what is density? It is kg per meter cube. So kg is mass and meter cube is L cube. So density is m by L cube, right? So this is the fundamental units of density. So density you are supposed to put here, right? So mu by rho, if you solve mu by rho, this will be the, you can say, fundamental dimension of kinematic viscosity. Okay, kinematic viscosity is a derived dimension, but we can convert this derived dimension into fundamental dimensions. I hope it is clear to you. It is little tricky, but it's very simple to do. Fine. You just need to know the basic, you can say, formula of all of these quantities. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, force, for force, we just did force in the previous slide also, mass into acceleration. So mass is capital M, acceleration is L by time square. Right? So simply you can convert force also. Specific weight. If you remember the definition of specific weight, it is weight per unit volume. And you know what is weight? Weight is a force. Weight is a kind of a force. So force, for force, this is the fundamental dimension of force. And volume, you know, volume is L cube. Okay, so it is L cube. So from here, if you simplify, this is the fundamental dimension of specific weight. Okay, dynamic viscosity we just did over here. Dynamic viscosity. So similarly, you can convert any derived unit into fundamental units. Just need to know the basic relation between the fundamental unit and the derived unit. If you know the relation, you can convert any derived unit into its fundamental unit. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So this was, you can say, about dimensional analysis and how you can convert derived unit into fundamental unit. Next topic which we are going to study is dimensional homogeneity. Now, what is dimensional homogeneity?
सर एक मिनट स्लाइड एक मिनट के लिए सर पीछे करेंगे थोड़ी देर के लिए
Sure.
डन सर
Okay. So from here, we are going to study this next topic.
Kinematic viscosity, sir. थोड़ा सा सर उसमें प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है सर.
काइनेमेटिक विस्कोसिटी में. ठीक है शिवम, इसमें क्या करना है ना, हमने आप बस बेसिक डेफिनेशन ध्यान रखो. काइनेमेटिक विस्कोसिटी किसका? इट्स यू कैन से रेशियो ऑफ म्यू बाय रो. ओके, डायनामिक विस्कोसिटी एंड डेंसिटी. So, but in this case, we don't know the primary dimensions of mu, and we don't know primary dimensions of rho also. So first we need to find the primary dimension of mu. For mu, what is the relation of mu? Newton's law of viscosity, tau is equals to mu into du by dy.
Mu du by dy.
So from here I can say mu is equals to tau divided by du by dy. Now tau is also derived unit, fine, but tau is shear stress. Okay, so shear stress को हम क्या लिखते हैं? Force per unit area.
Force. Yes,
okay.
sir.
And नीचे क्या है आपके पास? U by v. Okay, velocity gradient. So velocity gradient, I can say velocity gradient is u by v. So velocity का जो fundamental unit होगा, that will be L by t. Okay, and dy you can say it's a length. So again it's a fundamental unit, 1 by L. See, dy is at the denominator, fine, it will be 1 by L. Am I clear? So
yes, sir.
You can write force का fundamental unit, area का fundamental unit L square. Okay, so from here, and you can write L into T. ये तो convert कर लिया हमने velocity gradients को.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So mu का fundamental unit will be m into L minus 1 T minus 1. Similarly, density rho का fundamental unit will be ml minus 3. आपको rho का formula पता होना चाहिए, mass per unit volume. And just take the ratio of these two, mu by rho. So, जब इसको सॉल्व करेंगे म्यू बाय रो को m से m कैंसिल हो जाएगा, l वहां पे -1 यहाँ पे -3, सो इट विल बी l स्क्वायर ऊपर चला जाएगा, ठीक है। सो m कैंसिल हो गया, l स्क्वायर t -1, ओके। यहाँ से ये देखिए कि यहाँ पे कर देंगे
सर फोर्स बाय एरिया का क्या लिखा है इन्होंने सर? फोर्स बाय एरिया का यूनिट
मैं बता देता हूँ। फोर्स देखो, फोर्स को आपको कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा पहले, फोर्स डायरेक्टली नहीं लिख सकते आप। फोर्स को जैसे हमने प्रीवियस स्लाइड में कन्वर्ट करा था, फोर्स वाज m l
मास इनटू एक्सेलरेशन,
t माइनस, हाँ मास इनटू एक्सेलरेशन से हमने ये निकाला था, फोर्स को m इनटू l इनटू t -2, फाइन। और एरिया हमारे पता क्या है, l स्क्वायर, फाइन। सो इसको कैंसिल करेंगे तो हो जाएगा m l -1 t -2, m l, उसने लिखा नहीं डायरेक्टली, बट हम यहाँ से फोर्स को बना सकते हैं m l -1 t -2, और यहाँ पे पर सेकंड बचा हुआ है, ठीक है। तो t -1, तो इससे सिंपलीफाई कर सकते हो आप इसको। एक बार पेन कॉपी लेके आप इसको सॉल्व करके ट्राई करना, तो ये हो जाएगा।
यस सर समझ।
सर वॉल्यूम का L क्यूब होता है क्या सर?
हाँ, वॉल्यूम का L क्यूब होगा, बिकॉज वॉल्यूम का यूनिट आपको पता है मीटर क्यूब, सेंटीमीटर क्यूब होता है। बेसिकली जो लेंथ की डायमेंशंस होती है उसी का क्यूब होता है वो।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सर।
एक टेबल भी है शायद बुक्स में, उसमें उस टेबल में सारे बेसिक्स है, लेकिन उसको उसमें इतना डिटेल आप सब पढ़ चुके हैं, हम बेसिक से पढ़ते हैं सारे मैथमेटिक्स को, सो आपको वॉल्यूम का, एरिया का आपको पता ही होना चाहिए।
ठीक है सर।
ओके, सो डायमेंशनल होमोजेनिटी में क्या होता है, अगेन जो द एग्जांपल व्हिच आई वाज गिविंग इन द इनिशियल यू कैन से फर्स्ट स्लाइड, दैट यू कैन नॉट कंपेयर टू अनलाइक क्वांटिटीज। जैसे हम केजी को मीटर पर सेकंड से कन्वर्ट नहीं कर सकते, ओके, कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते। आई कैन नॉट कंपेयर टू इररिलेवेंट डायमेंशंस, ओके। मास को लेंथ से कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते, फाइन। सो डायमेंशनल होमोजेनिटी सेज दैट इफ आई हैव अ इक्वेशन, ऑन बोथ साइड्स ऑफ द इक्वेशन डायमेंशन शुड बी सेम, ओके। इक्वेशन के दोनों साइड डायमेंशन सेम होना चाहिए, या तो यहाँ पे मास है तो वहां पे भी मास होना चाहिए। इफ देयर इज अ लेंथ हियर, सो देयर शुड बी लेंथ ओवर देयर। इफ देयर इज अ टेम्परेचर हियर, सो टेम्परेचर शुड बी देयर आल्सो, फाइन। सो ऑन बोथ साइड्स ऑफ द इक्वेशन द डायमेंशन शुड बी same. Am I clear? So basically this is what dimensional homogeneity also says, that if I have a equation, the dimension on LHS and RHS should be always same, okay. That is the, you can say, dimensional homogeneity or law of dimensional homogeneity, fine. You can read it here also, that it is written, dimensional homogeneity means dimension of each term in a equation on both sides are equal, fine. Dimension of each term on both sides of the equation should be same. I cannot compare kg with mass per second, meter per second, fine. So this is a wrong comparison, fine. So this is not dimensional homogeneity. For dimensional homogeneity, both sides of the equation should have same dimensions. Am I clear?
Yes sir.
Like एक example भी इन्होंने दिया है, like see, there is a relation of velocity. I can write velocity as √2gh. Velocity can be written as √2gh. ये आपने steady flow energy equation पढ़ते हैं thermodynamics में। So वहां से नोजल का वेलोसिटी निकलता है, तो वेलोसिटी ऑफ द नोजल इज v is equals to √2gh, फाइन। So if you check the dimensions on the right hand side and left hand side, say let's say left hand side पे velocity है, fine. So what is the fundamental dimension of velocity? It is meter per second. I can say length per time, fine. So fundamental dimension of velocity is lt -1. Now if I compare with the right hand side में we have g into h, okay. So what is g? G is acceleration. Acceleration के लिए हम लिख सकते हैं length L by T2 T square, fine. Or h is the, you can say, length का dimension है, so it will be L, fine. So if you solve it, it will become L square by T square under root. Now if you solve this under root, it will become L by T. L by T is what? L into T -1. Now if you compare LHS with RHS, okay, what I can say? See, both the dimensions are same. Dimension on LHS and RHS both are same, both are equal to LT -1. So I can say the relation which I have, V is equals to √2gh, it is correct. This relation is correct, fine. I can apply this relation. So this is what you validated. मैंने आपको first slide में बताया था, we can validate the relation using dimensional analysis. So from dimensional homogeneity, I have validated that this relation is correct. Why? Because the dimension on both sides of the equation are same, okay. So this is what dimensional homogeneity by time square. Fundamental dimension of height is length, fine. So if you simplify again, you will get √2gh. The fundamental dimension is also same, lt -1, and fundamental dimension of velocity is also lt -1. So I can say LHS is equals to RHS. So I can say this relation is correct. This is validated. So whenever the fundamental dimensions of LHS and RHS are same, I can say it is dimensionally homogeneous, or it holds dimensional homogeneity, right? So this is what a dimensional homogeneity means, that we discussed in the last class. Now in today's class, we are going to study about the method of dimensional analysis. What are the different methods by which we can perform dimensional analysis? So basically in our syllabus, we have two methods. So we are going to study those two methods one by one, methods for dimensional analysis. First method I'm going to cover today, that is Rayleigh's method. Right? So basically on Rayleigh's method, what we are going to do, we are going to, in Rayleigh's method, what is, if I summarize Rayleigh method, in this Rayleigh method, you will be given some parameters. You will be given some parameters and you will be asked that how these parameters depend upon each other. Right? Like in this case, you can see, x is a variable or a parameter which depends upon x1, x2, x3 variables. Right? So what we need to do is we need to derive a relation of x in terms of x1, x2, and x3. Fine. So x could be a mathematical function of x1, x2, x3. Fine. X can depend upon x1, x2, and x3 in any way. I can say it could be like x1 plus x2 plus x3. Fine. X1 plus x2 plus x3. Or it could depend upon in any way. Either it could be multiplication, division. It could be like x1 to the power x2 divided by x3. So what is the relation of x with respect to x1, x2, x3? What relation it is going to follow? That relation we are going to find with the help of Rayleigh's method. So with the help of Rayleigh method, we are going to find the relation of a variable with respect to the other variables. Right? So this x here will be called as dependent variable. X here would be called as dependent variable, and variable x1, x2, x3 would be called as independent variable. This is an independent variable. Okay. All right. So this x is a dependent variable and x1, x2, x3 are independent variable. X depends upon the values of x1, x2, x3 based upon a particular relation. So what is that relation? We are going to find with the help of Rayleigh's method. Okay. So I'll tell you what are the steps to find the relation one by one. Right? So let's see it by one example. I'll explain it by an example here. Like in this case, we have an example. We'll see that example here. Try to understand. See, the time period of a pendulum depends upon length of the pendulum and acceleration due to gravity of the pendulum. Okay. Now you tell me in this question, there are three parameters: time, length, and acceleration due to gravity. So you tell me which is a independent variable and which is a dependent variable.
So independent
Sir,
variable
time sir independent है sir.
Time is independent and
Sir length भी independent है.
Sir, length and gravity independent है, time dependent है.
Correct.
Sir,
answer correct. This answer is correct. See, again, if you read the language of the question says that the time period of pendulum depends on. Okay, so time depends on L and G. So time is depending upon L and G. Fine. So time is a dependent parameter, a dependent variable, and L and G are the independent variable. That means we are going to find the relation of time period as a function of length, and acceleration due to gravity. Fine. So time period will be a function of length and gravity. Fine. How it depends? See, at the last you can see this relation have been developed also. So in using this relation, what you can see is that time is directly proportional to the square root of L and inversely proportional to the square root of G. So this is the relation that time depends upon L and G, and this is the way, or this is the relation. It is a ratio of L by G under root. Fine. So that relation is there between time, L and G for a pendulum. Fine. But how this relation came, that we need to understand. So this relation can be developed with the help of Rayleigh's method. Okay, this relation can be developed with the help of Rayleigh's method. You need to understand what is Rayleigh method here. So again, whatever the question, the steps will be same. There are the same steps we need to follow, and it's a very simple topic. It's a very simple, you can say very simple numericals may come, and you can easily score 100% marks in this particular topic, because whatever the question, the steps will be same, right? So again, what I need to do is, whenever such question is given to me, Rayleigh's method, I can recommend you to note down this question side by side so that you can easily revise this thing also. Fine. So very first step, whenever the question is given, so first of all, try to identify which is dependent parameter and which are independent parameters. So I can say time is the dependent parameter. It depends upon L and G. Okay. It depends upon L and G, but we don't know what is the relation between L and G. There could be division, there could be multiplication, there could be addition. Fine. So I don't know whether it is a multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction. So initially we need to assume is time is equals to, okay, L to the power A. A is some constant. We are going to take A as a constant, random constant, and G to the power B. B is also a constant. Fine. And here, just for the, see, there could be some constant multiplied, like in this case, we have a 2 pi. So whenever in a relation if there is a constant, so we cannot find the constant using Rayleigh's method. This is one of the drawback of Rayleigh method. If in the relation there is a constant also, see, in the question it is mentioned time depends upon L and G, but it also depends upon this constant. Fine. So the relation with constant cannot be found with the help of Rayleigh's method. It is the problem, or it is the drawback of Rayleigh method. So in order to account this constant, at the very first step we will take a constant k. Right? We will take a कोई भी question होगा, if it is any question, we will take a constant k with the given relation. Fine. So in this relation, what you are supposed to do is, in this first step, you will do that t is equals to some constant, which could be possible. It could be 1 also. Fine. Some constant. Now it depends upon length. So it depends upon length, but how it is depending, I don't know. I will just raise it to another constant, let's say a. Fine. And the next variable given to me is g. So how the time depends upon g, I don't know. So I will raise it to a random constant b. Right? My task is to find the value of a and b. What is the value of a and b? That is what I want to find. Right? So after doing this particular step, we will convert all the parameters into its fundamental dimensions. Okay, we will convert all the parameters into fundamental dimensions. Fine. So what is the fundamental dimension of time period? Anyone?
Sir, T.
T. Okay. So this is what written here. The fundamental dimension of time period is t to the power 1. Okay. And then fundamental dimension of L, length, is L, same. Okay. And fundamental dimension of G is acceleration. So what is the fundamental dimension of acceleration? Acceleration is the derived dimension.
LT minus 4.
LT
minus 4.
How I can say LT minus 2? Because acceleration is mass per unit time. Okay. You know, acceleration is mass per second square. You know, acceleration is mass by second square. Fine. Sorry, not mass. Why I'm saying mass? It is meter per second square. Fine. So meter is L. Meter is the fundamental dimension is L. Okay. And second square fundamental dimension is T2. But it is in the denominator. So if it moves to the top, it will be T minus 2. Fine. So G, fundamental dimension of acceleration, will be L into T minus 2. But what we have done, we have raised L to the power A. So L to the power A and G to the power B. So since this is G to the power B. Fine. So I think there is no problem till this point. We just, what we did, we converted this relation into fundamental dimensions. Okay. So after converting this into fundamental dimensions, we will try to equate the powers of respective fundamental dimension. Now, what does it mean? Again, I repeat my statement. Try to observe this statement again. After this step, we will try to equate the respective fundamental dimensions. Fine. So if I take on the LHS side mein, how many fundamental dimensions I have? Only time.
One.
Okay, only one, that is time. So I can say on
Yes,
the LHS, the mass is 0, mass to the power 0, and L to the power 0,
Yes,
I can
sir.
say it. Fine.
Yes,
So on
sir.
LHS, M0, L0, T1. And on RHS, on the side of RHS, I can say it is L to the power A. And if I solve this bracket, I will get L to the power B. Okay. This power will be on L. So L to the power A into L to the power B. So what I can say it is L to the power A plus B.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope you know this mathematics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And T to the power minus 2B, I can say T to the power minus 2B. Yes, correct. Okay. Minus 2B. It's very difficult to write. Minus 2B. Okay. So, and there is no mass term on this LHS side also. So I can say mass is 0, M to the power 0. Okay. Now what I said, what was my statement, that we will try to compare the respective fundamental dimensions. Respective matlab, I'll compare mass with mass, length with length, and time with time. Right? So see, M to the power 0 here also and M to the power 0 here also. It is correct. It is dimensionally homogeneous. Okay. It is dimensionally homogeneous. M to the power 0 is on the LHS side also, and M to the power 0 is on the RHS side also. It is homogeneous. Okay. Now second is for homogeneous in length. Fine. What should I have? L to the power 0 is on the LHS, but L to the power A plus B on the RHS. So for homogeneity, what I should say, A plus B should be equal to
0.
0, correct. A plus B should be equal to 0. Why it is to be 0? Because L to the power 0 is there on the LHS side. LHS side, the power of length is 0. So RHS also power of length should be 0. So I can say A plus B
Yes,
should
sir.
be 0. Fine. Similarly, if I compare the power of time, T. Fine. So power of T on the LHS side is 1. Fine. And power of T on the RHS side. So power of T on the RHS side is minus 2B. Okay, minus 2B. Getting it? So power of T on the RHS side is minus 2B and on the LHS side it is 1. So from here I can say what is the value of B? I can find what is the value of B. B is equals to
1 by 2.
minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2. Okay. And so accordingly, what will be the value of A? If I substitute the B here, what will be the value of A?
Sir, half होगा.
Yes, A will be 1 by 2. A will become 1 by 2 minus B, or 1 by 2. B is 1 minus 1 by 2. So A is 1 by 2 and B is minus 1 by 2. Now do one thing. Just put A equal to 1 by 2 in this relation. Just put A equal to 1 by 2 and B equal to minus 1 by 2. So if in this relation, A is equals to 1 by 2, L to the power A is 1 by 2 and G to the power B, it is minus 1 by 2. So minus 1 by 2 means 1 by under root G हो जाएगा, है ना? Power of 1 by 2 means square root. Fine. So if you solve this, it can be converted, it can be rewritten in this form. Time period is K into under root L by G, because L
Yes,
to the
sir.
power A is 1 by 2 and G to the power B was minus 1 by 2. So minus 1 by 2 come to the denominator part. Fine. So this is the relation of time period. Okay, time period is K into under root L by G. This relation what you have got here. This relation is called as empirical correlation. Okay, this relation is called as empirical correlation. Empirical. What is this empirical? Empirical means you are getting the you can say dependency on the variable, but you are not exactly getting the answer because you don't know the value of constant. You don't
Yes,
know the
sir.
value of the constant. You know that how L and G are depending, but you don't know the value of constant. Right? So using Rayleigh's method, we can develop empirical correlation. We can develop like T is equals to K into under root L by G. But what is the value of K? I don't know. And this value of K can be determined experimentally. Right? You can perform experiments on the pendulum, and then you can find that experimentally K is equals to 2 pi. So this is not the part of Rayleigh's method. This is not the part of Rayleigh's method, but experimentally you can find K equal to 2 pi. Your question was, your final answer according to Rayleigh method is T is equals to K into under root L by G. Right? So that is the final answer. So to summarize this particular question, or to summarize the particular method, whenever the Rayleigh method is given to you, you first need to identify dependent variables and independent variables. Fine. After finding the dependent and independent variable, you need to rewrite the equation in this form. You need to keep the dependent variable on the RHS side and all the independent variable on the LHS side. And
RHS side.
each independent variable should have a power. Like in this case, we had two independent variables, so L to the power A, G to the power B. If there is a third parameter also, so we will do to the power C. Let's say X to the power C. Fine. So depends upon
Yes,
how
sir.
many number of parameters are given. So we will just raise it to the power to some constant A, B, C. Fine. Later on, what we will do, we will convert that equation into fundamental dimensions. And then we will try to compare the fundamental dimensions on LHS and RHS side to find the value of A and B, or let's say A, B, C, D, whatever the number of parameters given to us. Right? So after finding the value of A, B, C, we substitute the values in the initial relation, and we can find an empirical correlation. Are you getting this thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there is no doubt on this particular part, we can try to solve one more question. Let's try to solve one more question. Okay, you read this question and try to identify what are the dependent variables and what are the independent variables. And read the question and try to answer this question, particular question. See, the expression of power is developed by a pump when P depends
Sir,
upon H
power
and Q.
dependent.
Yes, power is dependent variable. Power P is dependent variable. It is depending upon what parameters?
Sir, head पे depend है, discharge पे और specific weight.
Correct. So there are three parameters here. So P is a function of I can say H, Q, and specific weight. Right? but I don't know what is the relation, whether they should be multiplied, they should be divided, that I don't know. So that I will calculate using Rayleigh's method. But in this question, like in the last question, there were two independent variable. Here we have three independent variable. So what I need to write? Again, I will write it in the same form. So dependent variable on the LHS side, okay, is equals to some constant. So first parameter h to the power a, second parameter q to the power b, third parameter w to the power c. Now my task is to convert this relation into fundamental dimensions. So fundamental dimensions will be here. Fine. Now you tell me power. Okay. What is the fundamental dimension of power? How can you write power? That you need to do. Okay. ये आपको करना पड़ेगा. How can you convert power is a derived dimension? How can you convert derived dimension into fundamental dimension? That we studied in the last class also. So do anyone remember what is the definition of power? What is the definition of power? Anyone? Definition of power? सब इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग कर भी चुके हैं.
Yes, sir.
Power का definition, it is rate of doing work. It is rate of doing work, I can say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is work?
The force into distance.
Force into displacement, I can say, correct. Force into displacement. Okay. So still in this relation, in the relation of power, force is still the derived quantity. You can say distance L, T, capital T seconds, but force is still the derived quantity. But we know we have derived the relation for force. Okay. Force is what? Mass into acceleration.
Yes, sir.
So you can also convert force into mass into acceleration. So again, acceleration is also not a fundamental quantity. It is derived. So for acceleration, I can say it is L to the power L into or L divided by T to the power minus 2. So this is force ml T minus 2. This is force. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in the power, if you substitute here, so power will be force. Force is m L T minus 2. Distance, S is distance. So S will be L. And denominator, there is a time variable. So it is T. So if you solve power, power will be what? M L into L. So it will become L square. Okay, L square. There is a T minus 2 on the numerator and there is a T in the denominator. So it will become T to the power minus 3.
Let's see.
So that is the fundamental dimension of power. This is the fundamental dimension of power. And if you see, it is written here, fine, ml2 T minus 3. So you need to convert, you should be, I told you in the last class also, please practice conversion of derived dimension into fundamental dimension. So for converting, you should know the basic meanings, okay, basic definitions. So if you know the basic definition of power, you can convert power into fundamental dimensions. So fundamental dimension of power is this, right? Fundamental dimension of head is height. So height will be L. Okay. Discharge, fundamental dimension of discharge, you know, it is area into velocity. Okay.
Yes, volume
Yes,
per
sir.
time.
Okay, area into velocity, or I can say volume per time. Both are same. It is volume
Yes,
per
yes,
time.
sir.
So what is the fundamental dimension of discharge? So volume, you know, meter cube. So meter cube means L
Yes,
cube,
sir.
and time is
L
T.
cube.
L cube T
T.
minus 1. Okay, so L cube into T minus 1 discharge. Similarly, weight density. What is weight density? Relation of weight density is weight per unit volume. Weight density is weight per unit volume. We have seen it in the property of the fluid. And weight is what? Weight is also a force. Weight is a kind of a force. Okay, force per unit volume. And you know what is the relation of force? What is the relation of force? ml T minus 2. So ml T minus 2. Force is ml T minus 2. And volume is L cube. You just see volume is meter cube. So meter is the length dimension. So volume is L cube. So if you simplify, you can get the weight density to be m L minus 2 and T minus 2.
T minus 2.
Okay. So just need to substitute these values here, ml minus 2, T minus 2. So these are the fundamental dimensions of power, head, discharge, and weight density. Fine. So head to the power A, that means L to the power A. Similarly, Q, discharge to the power B, so Q to the power B. And density, weight density to the power C, so this is the weight density. Now after this, you need to simplify. Okay, you will simplify. This is a L here, there is a L here also, there is a L here also. So if you add all of them, what you will get, let me rewrite. Okay, so we have on this side, on RHS side, we have three L's. Okay, so if I write the first L, it is L to the power A. Here it will be L to the power 3B, because if you open the bracket, it will become 3B. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So it will become A plus 3B.
3B.
Plus here also there is L, but if you open the bracket, it will become minus 2C. So L to the power A plus 3B minus 2C.
2C.
Okay, similarly time. So time here also and time here also. We have T to the power minus B and T to the power minus 2C. So if I write T in a overall condition, T to the power minus B and T to the power minus 2C. So T to the power minus B minus 2C.
2C.
See, there is no M on the RHS side. There is no M. There is no mass quantity on the RHS side. So M to the power 0 I can write. Okay. So this is RHS. And on LHS we have M to the power 1, L to the power 2, and 2 to the power T to the power minus 3. So what you are supposed to do? We are supposed to compare. Fine. We are supposed to compare this thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there is a M also. Sorry, there is a, I have just written it wrong. Fine. On the RHS side also there is a M. I need to correct it.
Yes, sir. M ke power 1.
Yeah, M ki power minus M ki power
MC.
1, but C. Yes. Okay, so M to the power
Yes,
C.
sir. M.
Okay, so I need to compare M with M, L with L, and T with T. So if I compare M's, if you compare the power of M, so C is equals to
C equal to 1.
1.
1.
If you compare power of L, so L is 2 here. On the LHS side, L is 2. On the RHS side, L is A plus 3B minus 2C. A plus 3B minus 2C. But you know C is 1. So you can substitute C. 1.
To
Okay.
minus 2.
Yes, yes, yes. So it will become minus 2 and minus 2. It will come over here. So A plus 3B will be equal to 4. You can
Yes,
write
sir.
A plus 3B equal to 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is one relation. And in the last relation for time t, it is minus 3 on the LHS side and minus B minus 2C on the RHS side. Okay, you know C is equals to 1.
Yes, sir.
So if you put C is equals to 1 and if you keep it over here, so B will be equal to 1. If you simplify, you can find B is equals to 1. Fine. Now put B equal
Yes,
to
sir.
1 here. So you will get A is also equal to 1. So what we got? A equal to 1, B equal to 1, and C is equals to 1. And C is equals to
1.
1. Fine. So just put the values here. Just put the values here. A equal to 1, B equal to 1, C equal to 1. So this is your relation. Okay. So power is equals to K into HQW. Okay. Even if you see the relation of pumping power, the main or the relation which we are going to learn in unit 6 also, pumping power is equals to rho G QH. This is the formula of pumping power. Fine. Now rho G is weight density, rho into G is weight density. Fine. Weight density Q into H. That is what we have derived here also. Fine. So in this case, in this value, if you experimentally do it, experimentally I can say K is equals to 1. If you do the experiment, you will find that K is equals to 1. There is no need to do it in this place, but I am just telling you just for the information. In this relation, K will be equal to 1 experimentally. So I can say this is the final relation, KHQW, using Rayleigh method. Any doubts?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so this is how we can find empirical correlations using Rayleigh method and dimensional homogeneity. Okay, but there is a problem with the Rayleigh method. There is a problem with Rayleigh method, like if we have a larger number of parameters, like in this case we have 3 parameters, 3 independent parameters. But let's say in a case like if we have 6 or 7 independent parameters, in that case there will be 6 or 7 equations. Like in this case we had 3 parameters, so there are 3 equations. Fine. If I have 4 parameters, so there will be 4 equations. Like in the last example, there were 2 parameters, so there were 2 equations. Okay. In this case, we have 2
Yes, sir.
parameters L and G, so 2 equations. In this case, I had 3 parameters, so 3 equations. If I have 8 parameters, then 8 equations. So to find the
Yes,
value
sir.
of 8 equations, again, it gets complicated. Fine. Getting it or not? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is the problem with Rayleigh method. If I have higher number of independent variables or independent parameters, so it gets complicated to solve using Rayleigh method. Okay. I have one example to explain this particular drawback. You can see this drawback in this question. Again, we'll try to see what are the dependent and independent variable. See, you are supposed to solve this on your own, but just for the example, I'm showing you that what is the problem with this Rayleigh method. In this case, drag force on smooth sphere expression, you have to find the drag force, okay, which depends upon diameter, velocity, density, and viscosity. Fine. So according to the given question, I can say drag force is the dependent parameter. It depends upon diameter, velocity, density, and viscosity. Fine. So d to the power a, v to the power b, rho to the power c, and mu to the power d. Okay, so that is the same step we have
Yes, sir.
done so far. Now we will convert them into its fundamental dimensions. So force, fundamental dimension of force is mlt minus 2. Fundamental dimension
Sir,
of diameter, yes.
sir, K will be multiplied with only D, sir.
No, they are all in multiplication.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So a fundamental dimension of force is mlt minus 2. Fundamental dimension of diameter. Diameter is a unit of, you can say, length. Okay. So diameter
Length.
is also L. Okay. Now velocity, you know, meter per second. So it is L t minus 1. Velocity is L t
Yes,
minus
sir.
1. Density definition is kg per meter cube. So L m into L minus 3. Kg per meter cube is mass per unit L cube. So m L minus 3, that is density. Now problem is viscosity. Okay, so viscosity, we have done the question in the previous example in the last class to derive dynamic viscosity. If you were there in the previous class, you may remember, or
Yes,
for that
sir.
I
Yes,
need to
sir.
move into the previous slide here. We solved this question. In this question, we found from Newton's law of viscosity, we derived the fundamental dimensions of mu. Okay, fundamental dimensions of mu came out to be ml minus 1, t minus 1. Right? So using this also,
Yes, sir.
so we can do it. So fundamental dimensions of mu is ml minus 1, t minus 1. Fine. Now, after this, if I simplify, I need to compare power of m, power of l, and power of t. So power of m, there is only one m here. Okay, and if you simplify, you will get m to the power c here and m to the power d here. So m to the power c plus d. See, you don't need to rewrite again and again. You'll just see here, there is one m here and there is one m here only. There is no m at other places. Fine. So this m to the power c and this m to the power d. So I can say m to the power c plus d. And here m is equals to 1. M power is equals to 1. So I can say c plus d is equals to 1. Otherwise, you can write also. If you simplify, you will get on this side, on RHS side, m is equals to c plus d. Similarly, power of L. So LA, LB, L minus 3C, and L minus D. So I can say LA plus B minus 3C and minus D. So these are the power of L. Similarly, for the time also you can do. Fine. So if you compare the LHS and RHS power of MLT, you will get this relation. Now, what is the problem? Can you observe the problem here? Can you observe the problem here? See, we have 3 equations and how many unknowns?
2, sir.
How to? See, we have 3
Oh, sir.
equations
Oh,
and 4 unknowns, a plus b plus c plus d.
Sir.
Fine. So it is not possible to find the value of 4 unknown with 3 equations only. Okay. So this is one
Yes,
of the
sir.
problem with Rayleigh's method. So that is what I needed to discuss. Fine. So what it had done, it had to find the value of ABC in terms of D. So C is 1 minus